minute, and then Zamawa, as you're the next senior trustee, I would ask you to step in and begin chairing until Evelyn arrives.
All right, so let's give her a couple more minutes then.
Yeah, we're actually are at 8:10.
Hey, guys.
Morning, John.
Good morning, John. If you want to just, it's up to you. I mean, it is 8:10. If you want to just start, I sent her a message.
I always feel that from my college days, 10 minutes is the outer boundary. I'm sure she'll be on in a few minutes, Zamawa. So I would invite you to take over and lead us through.
If I could
All
just
right.
make a note that this meeting is being recorded so that all members are aware of that.
Sorry, you want me to say that?
Nope, I just did. That's all.
Okay.
Just needed it noted.
All right, noted. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Let's kick off our first Finance and Audit Committee of 2021. Pamela, do you want to do roll call?
Sure, certainly. Evelyn, not present. Zamawa,
Here.
John,
Here.
Jeff Hawkins,
I'm mute. Here.
and David Leonard.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Great, thank
And
you.
Evelyn's coming right now. She's signing in.
She's signing in? Okay.
Yes.
So I think we can go ahead and do the approval of the minutes while she gets on, and then she'll take us through the votes for the contracts. So anybody have any comments on the minutes? Can I get a motion?
Moved.
So moved. Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Approved. The minutes are approved. Is she on now, Pamela?
She's on as attendee. Jay, could you promote Evelyn?
Yep, she popped on as you finished your second.
And there we are.
There we are.
Good morning, Evelyn.
Right, can you hear me?
We
Yes.
hear you.
Yes, and you can see me. Yes.
I see you.
Excellent.
Evelyn, I kicked off the meeting and
Perfect, thank you.
we're at the votes for approval of the contract, so you can take it away.
Evelyn, it was so efficient the way Zamara kicked off that meeting. It was just amazing.
I love it. I love it.
I'm so proud of myself, John.
My
Happy New Year,
apologies.
guys. Hey,
I
by the way,
like-
Happy New Year's, everyone. Sorry about that.
Happy New Year. Well, you know, today it's Happy Three Kings Day because Three Kings is tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So there we go. No, sorry, apologies. I had a customer escalation and I needed to take care of
No
the team
problem.
and just get them off on a right footing. All right, so we're going for approval of contracts. Okay, so we only approved the minutes.
Yes,
Okay, so this is for Sullivan and Worcester, right? This is for the probate. This is the probate. So Ellen, do you want to go walk us through it?
So I don't know that I would call it probate. This is the attorney that was identified by Caroline and City Corporation Counsel to assist with the review of the John Adams collection. I think Caroline's on the call, and I'd ask her to jump in with some background and take any questions we might have on this.
Sure, thank you. Thanks, Ellen. And I apologize, there is construction going on outside my building, so if it gets loud, that's why. So this firm was recommended to us by the law department and just to assist us with the review of John Adams' collection, what our responsibilities are towards this collection. As you all know, with any collection that we've had in our possession for over 100 years, we just want to make sure we're doing the right thing and following any applicable law. So they've already started their review. I actually expect to speak with them this week and hope to have a report for the full trustees very soon. But we wanted to have this contract approved, and I want to emphasize it's the vote says not to exceed $50,000. We are hoping to keep this to be a very succinct review, but I wanted to make sure Sullivan and Worcester, they're a very good firm, but they also, we just want to make sure we had enough funding for their review. So I'm happy to take any questions, but that's the extent of it at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, 50,000 doesn't seem like a lot. Is Sullivan Worcester, since they do have their pro bono area and we are a nonprofit, is there any leeway or anything, or do they see, just pockets from the city?
Yeah, we no, they're very aware that we have a limited budget, and we're working with a partner whose billable rate is much lower than some of their more let's say high-powered litigators.
Yeah.
But she's great, and
Great.
and they are going to keep me in the loop as to how many hours they're billing, and they're very conscientious about it. So I feel good about it.
Caroline, you said you'd be reporting to the trustees soon. Do you have a sense of what soon means in terms of time?
I'm hoping soon means by the next meeting, but like I said, I have a phone call with them this week to see where they are with their review. And so if not the next trustee meeting, the one following that, but if there's something that's particularly pressing that we need to discuss, maybe we'd call a special meeting, but I at this point, I just don't know because I haven't heard back from them about what they're finding. So, but they've been very excited to work with us. I mean, anytime you're talking about something that originates from the early 1800s in terms of legal documents, they've been very intrigued by it. So I'm hoping to have something good to report.
Thank you.
So that would be by the March meeting, probably not by the currently next meeting, which is next Tuesday, with the option to schedule a special meeting before March if it seems appropriate.
Okay.
Right, David, that would go into executive session, correct?
It probably, at least partially, depending on what the findings and the nature of the conversation as discussed. So our role here is really to review just the contract and not get into the substance of the
Yeah.
matter that they're being engaged to look at this point in time.
Correct. All right.
Yeah.
Any further questions regarding this contract? No? Okay. So, Pamela, we have to do a roll call, right? Yeah. So, can I get a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call? Pamela?
Thank you. Evelyn,
Yes.
Samawa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you all.
motion is passed.
All right. The following lot that we have here, these are to go, it's a recommendation to the board. So this will go in front of the board on the next meeting. So Ellen, do you want to talk us through?
Sure. The first vote is to accept a gift from the estate of Dr. Kara Machadas. As you know, we accept gifts routinely, but to establish a permanent trust, we do require trustee approval. I sent the trustees some information on Dr. Kara Machadas yesterday. This will give us about a distribution of around $12,000 a year. So I can tell you Beth and Laura and their folks are thrilled with this. And with that, I can pause for any questions concerning this or.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I did read the bio on this, on the donor, which is it's a very nice bio. What he didn't have any children, it didn't seem. What
Doesn't
prompted
seem.
him to give to the library collection restoration?
We don't know. I did get his niece's contact information from his executor, and after we accept the gift, we'll reach out to her. I did check with the fund, and he had given gifts over the years. Certainly nothing at this level, but so he had been in contact with the library before and had been a donor. But what motivated him to give us such a generous gift, I don't know. Perhaps I can find out from his niece.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious because I mean, I was hoping to see some connection in the bio, but I didn't. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. But if he sounded like he was fond of the library and then felt, and if he has given for quite some time, I think he felt that, part of his estate would go to the library, which is very generous of him, and
Certainly
I
is.
appreciate that. Any questions?
If we can just be clear that there wasn't a bio or anything sent, it was just the public
Yeah, the
obituary that
obituary.
was
Yeah.
shared.
Yeah, no, just it's a great thing, and when people do this, so it's wonderful. Great way to start the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Alan, just quick question. Is there any, you have a set policy on how big a gift has to be to have a separate sort of permanent endowment around it, and how much?
You know, I don't think we actually have a policy. I think were it to be under, recently we accepted one for 75,000 within the last 3 years. I think anything less than that, we would probably have a conversation about it. The two most recent ones we've gotten is at 75,000, and then a $3 million, the Roman Trust 2 or 3 years ago, which was to spend on anything related to Italian art in the library's collection. But it's a good question.
And because I presume there's not a lot of administrative costs, right? It's just a line item that you have to.
Yeah, there's no administrative costs. The endowment, and I sent you folks the flash report for November. For the first time ever, the endowment is over 70 million, or was as of November 30th. So we certainly pay all our investment advisors and NEPC, but this wouldn't add anything to that. I mean, anything significant.
Any administrative costs. That's great.
So, yeah, so I have a question though. So, yes, we will have a distribution of about, 12,000 a year, but then where does the money get invested, Ellen? How does NEPC distributes this money?
So for the endowment, the NEPC considers it a pooled account. So it goes into the various advisors that we have according to the plan. So, 30% in domestic securities, that sort of thing. So it's rolled into the total. I do want to bring Sebastian back and have a conversation about the endowment again and what we have to move, but that's probably something for March.
Yeah, I think we have that. We've had that on the docket, to kind of look at the distribution. And I think we said, let's just wait it out and see where we need to go. But I just wanted to get it on the record how the money gets distributed and invested.
Sure. We take a 5% draw from the endowment based upon the last 3 years average. So that's against our trust.
Right, but it gets distributed according to the, to the distribution.
Then it gets distributed, the draw gets distributed by its percentage of the entirety to the distributed amount that we can spend.
All righty, great.
I think also to Jeff's point, the more the Boston Public Library funds estate planning program or plan giving program gets out there, that provides more opportunity to engage with people as they're doing those plans through the fund, rather than our current experience, which we love, but it causes this issue of not knowing what the connection to the individual is, where it just literally shows up with a phone call to Ellen or a letter to the president's office. And so I think over time, we may see more of these coming through the fund with much more detail and more intentional conversation happening. So that's just a kind of a footnote or clarification. So in that context, I think, Jeff, understanding the size of an estate would allow it to get redirected appropriately. The smaller ones really should get rolled into a particular existing fund rather than stand as a standalone trust fund.
Yeah, David, that makes a lot of sense.
All right. Pamela, do I need to take a vote on each individual one, right? Okay. All right. So can I get a motion to accept this restoration gift?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you. Roll call?
Thank you. Evelyn,
Yes.
Samawa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is passed.
All right. E-rate.
E-rate. So just as a reminder, E-rate is a federal program that pays libraries and schools significant amounts of money for IT costs. We are in the process of applying now. There are some pretty tight deadlines on E-rate, So we not infrequently ask for this to be delegated to finance and audit. Zamauer and Evelyn probably remember we had a couple of years ago 2 snow cancellations, and we ended up voting in a public meeting in Byron's office at the State House while he was in session. So this to us is just to make sure we have the flexibility and we don't miss any deadlines.
Yeah, there's the standard one. So any questions on that? No. All right. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, roll call, Pamela?
Thank you. Evelyn,
Yes.
Samawa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Motion was passed.
All right. Security contract.
The security contract as well is up. This is a 3-year contract. We did it in 2018. We're coming very tightly up against the cap. So we want the flexibility of not having to wait for a full trustee meeting. One of the reasons we're so high is that in the spring, in response to COVID, the city's public health commission set up 2 homeless shelters for COVID, folks infected with COVID. One at one of the Suffolk University domes and one up at 1515 Com Ave. They used our contract. The money didn't hit our budget, but it did hit our cap. So to the tune of about 650,000. So we're running out of this a little bit more quickly than we had expected.
Okay. So are we going to go into RFP with this?
This is an RFP, right? So that should be going out in the next few days. We'll be advertising it. It'll be out for 30 days or so. And then by the time it comes back, we evaluate it with like the flexibility of not being locked into a trustee meeting, that we might be able to go just to finance and audit, or if things go a little awry, we could call a special.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go. Just a question on the cap. Can you explain that a little bit more in terms of hitting the cap, just also so everyone understands
Sure.
what that means?
So, a contract of this size, it was about $3.7 million, falls under state procurement law. State procurement law says that you can raise a contract 25% over its original value without having to rebid. That 25% brought us to about 4.6 million. So the $650,000 really took us, that we spent for Boston Public Health Commission. Again, it just used the cap. You need a contract document under state procurement law. So the city asked if they could use our contract, and that of course was fine. So when it hits the cap, it takes the flexibility away from us for our own uses. And we have had higher costs than we anticipated as well. As part of the negotiation with the unions to start BPL to go, they did ask for security at every branch. So we've been running a little bit higher than we typically would.
Thank you.
We've had plenty of money to pay for it because, with nobody in the buildings, utility costs go down. We haven't had to fill all our positions. So it's not a budgetary amount for us, a budgetary amount issue for us. It's the state procurement law not allowing you to go 25% above the original contract.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, but so if I understand correctly, Ellen, basically we had our buildings closed, but we still had people working, from the security contract, just not at the library, but at other locations, correct?
Well, a couple of things. So when we closed in March, a decision was made in consultation with the city that we wouldn't lay off the G4S security guards. So that was a smaller group of folks. As we were in April, May, and June negotiating to come back, they asked for security at all the branches. We have a subset of branches that typically have security. The majority of them do not. Now all of them do. So that drove up the cost. That started about I guess we started BPL to go. We started implementing in June, I believe, and then rolled into August, July and August before everybody was open. And then during the shutdown, the Boston Public Health Commission sites were open down in Brighton and down at Suffolk University. So we are over what we would typically spend.
Okay. So the question is, we had some qualitative elements on that contract, on the RFP, I should say. Are we planning to do that with this contract as well, I would imagine?
So if you could just elaborate a little bit by what you mean with qualitative. Certainly, we learn from every procurement, and we're, excuse me, putting new language in to make sure they have on-site, take more responsibility for making sure they have their running lead on assigning people, which we've gotten a little too involved in. But I'm not entirely certain of the question.
There were training requirements in particular that would be a good example of the value add components. And so I haven't seen Eamon's updated draft yet, but I would anticipate those should at least be maintained, if not enhanced, for a new contract.
So this is my PTSD speaking. So when and this is when you have long-term memory. This is the contract that in the past got challenged, if you all recall.
On the rates that we paid the people because we were paying the union wage.
Rates and benefits and, fair, labor practices and things like that. Just want to make sure that we have the language in there. That's why I call it out, because it's something
Sure.
that was controversial a few years ago. So just want to make sure that we carry on. And then David, do we have to, is there any specific, as we're doing our diversity and inclusion efforts, is there any diversity and inclusion specific language that can be included in there too?
The city has issued an executive order that we're following, that we work with them to try to identify diverse vendors, companies that are owned by minority or women businesses. I'm not sure what the universe of those companies in something like this would be, but we'll certainly look. I know that the workforce of G4S is certainly quite diverse.
Yes.
To your earlier question, Evelyn, about the benefits in that, I think we're at least 2 contracts past that particular controversy. Since at least, I think, 2016, they have gotten sick leave and some amount of vacation time. And then before the 2018 contract, they did unionize. So they have, the G4S folks have better benefits. When we did bid 2018, we did get a challenge, someone who came in at a lower amount, but it was by paying the staff lower. So we do want to put in, and we will put into the RFR, that we do anticipate and we plan to pay union wages, that we're not trying to bring this thing in low on the backs of the employees.
Got it. I like that.
And again, by doing an RFP rather than a straight bid, that allows us to score the respondents based upon elements other than sheer dollar cost.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? No. All right. So can I get a motion? Second?
So moved. Yep.
All right. Pamela, roll call?
Thank you, Evelyn.
Yes.
Samawa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
All right. Thank you. Any new business? No. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
Yes, David Vieira, but let me just double check. I know he's one. Let me just look at the chat and see if there was anything. There was not. So we only have one speaker today, which is David Vieira.
Good morning, David. Thank you for joining us.
Just give the Jay a second to turn his mic on.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, David, all you have to do is unmute.
Oh, I think I've got it now.
We hear you. Thank you.
Yes. Good morning. Happy New Year to everybody. I just have a question about the first item that was voted on. And I'm asking this question because I really don't understand the reason why we need to hire an outside law firm. Why can't City Corporation Counsel handle this matter?
Hi, David. I'm happy to answer that question.
Who's speaking?
This is Caroline Driscoll.
Caroline, thank you.
Advisor. Yeah, no worries. The bottom line is, between myself and the folks at the law department, we are not specialists in probate and trust matters. So just like any other sort of special collection or special question, we decided to get a second opinion. So that's the reason for it. Corporation Counsel routinely uses outside counsel for anything from complex litigation to questions related to trusts and estates. So I felt that it was in the best interest of the library to ask for help from folks who specialize in these areas. That's all it is.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's all. And I'll see you all next week.
Thank you, David. All right. So with that, I think we're ready to adjourn, right, Pamela?
Yeah.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Good to see everyone. Bye-bye now.
All right. See you guys next
Bye.
week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Stay healthy.
Same. Thanks so much, Jay. If you wouldn't mind just sending me the recording when this is done.
Yep, sorry, I'm just making
No
sure the
worries.
recording and transcript.
Thank you.
See you.